She threw her son from the train, but what the moose did was amazing. A child, as they say, is a gift from God. They should be celebrated and cared for. If you find yourself in a situation to look after a baby when you are not ready, you should still make the right decision for the child. Today's story is about a young lady who did a wicked thing to her baby because of what her parents might say. Greetings and welcome back to our channel. Please subscribe to support our channel. In order not to miss a single one of uploads, press the alarm bell and turn on YouTube notifications on your phone. Thank you. Ariana was one of the lucky students to enroll in the Engineering Institute of Moscow. This is because she passed all her tests. She had completed her first year and was just on her way to the village to spend the vacation there. Even from a young age, Adriana always dreamed of going to the institute. She made sure to study every chance she could get. Her hard work paid off when she was awarded a high test score. The whole family was happy and in high spirits when Adriana was admitted into the school. Adriana was happy to go home and see her family, but something was bothering her. She was afraid of how her parents would react when they saw that she was pregnant. During her first year, Adriana met a young man who she thought was being honest with her. It was Adriana's first time in Moscow, and she assumed everyone there was as nice as the people in her village. She did not know the young man was only interested in exploiting her. Adriana was sitting in a train back home, and she was in fear of how her parents would react when she told them. They wouldn't forgive her, especially her father. This is because he was a disgrace for him and his family. Adriana and the baby will suffer the most because she might not get someone to marry her. Her parents would be enraged at what she had done. Because of this, Adriana started thinking about a way to get rid of the baby in her stomach. She did not know how she would achieve this. Adriana is still young, and being a mother has not crossed her mind yet. If it had, maybe she would keep the baby. She was confused as to what choice to make and whether it was the right one. Some of the passengers on the train were worried about Adriana. They saw that she was pregnant and alone. She did not have anyone to look after her in case of emergencies. There was no husband with her or even her father or a friend. A lot of the passengers reached their stops and got down. Eventually, Adriana was left alone. Her village was very far, and so she still had a long way to go. She was lying on the chair deep in thought when she felt pain in her stomach. Adriana tried to ask for help, but she realized there was nobody around. Everyone had gotten off the train. She decided to remain calm because she was in labor and the baby wanted to come out. She took a bottle of water from her bag, drank it, and took slow breaths. Adriana thought she had some 2 months until the baby came. By then, she would have been home and would have already told her parents about it. She was going to give birth and leave the baby with them and return to Moscow to continue her studies. The baby was coming earlier than the due date, and it was a problem. Adriana was trying to hide the fact that she was going into labor. If the train guards noticed it, they would drop her off at the next stop and take her to a hospital. She decided to go through the pain and push the baby quietly, and none will be the wiser. In her village, Adriana used to watch over the delivery of some animals. She knew what she had to do. Adriana gave birth and cut the umbilical cord. While lying down in pain, she started thinking about the situation. She knew she could not take the baby home because her parents would be ashamed, and she definitely couldn't take the baby back to school either. It would be impossible to take care of a newborn and study as well. If she had lectures, she would have to leave the baby alone in the room. Adriana held her baby and took a look. She noticed that her baby was brown. This was because the young man she had been with was an African who had come to study in Moscow. She only spent a night with the man before she concluded she did not want to date him again. She didn't think one night was enough to get her pregnant. Adriana wanted to leave the baby on the train, but the ticket man knew she was alone and pregnant. She felt dizzy and weak. She was exhausting herself by thinking too much when she was already weak and sick. To get rid of the dizziness, she opened the window and took out her head to inhale some fresh air. Immediately, the baby started crying. a very horrible idea came to Adriana's mind. Her life would then be free from problems and she could live as though she never gave birth. When she came to that conclusion, she carried the baby, wrapped it in her coat, kissed the forehead, and threw the baby out of the train's window. After doing that, she shut the window, closed her eyes, and went to sleep. Adriana slept for a long time. When she woke up, it was already the next day. Her heart was no more heavy, and she was very happy. She would be meeting her family soon with any problems. She was glad she got rid of the baby because she had no cause to be embarrassed in front of her parents now. She didn't have to think about the baby anymore, and she could start over again. An elderly couple lived at the place where Adriana had thrown her baby. The couple had been married for a long time and were madly in love with each other. Unfortunately, they lost their only son years ago. Their son went out to swim in a river in the forest where they live. However, he drowned and his body was found a week later. The old man had gone out to fish when he stumbled on his son's dead body floating on the river. This made the couple very distraught. They grieved their son for a long time. They tried to have another child, but they were unable to do so. Since they couldn't give birth, they decided to adopt a child from the shelter. Even the adoption process was not an easy one. No matter how many times they tried to adopt a child, it still proved futile. They lost hope of ever having the chance to adopt and take care of a lovely child. Soon, they forgot about it altogether. They were returning from the village to their home, which was situated on the outskirts of the village. On the way, they saw a deer. The deer looked sick and tired. It could hardly stand on its legs. They felt sorry for the deer, and so the old man picked it up and suggested to his wife that they take it home and take care of it. The wife agreed as well. The couple took the deer home and for several days treated and cared for the deer. When the deer was healthy again, they named it Grishka. That was their dead son's name. The deer, even after its full recovery, did not want to go back to the forest. It had become attached to the couple and didn't want to leave them. They let the animal stay with them and treated it as any other domestic animal. The couple had been alone for a long time, and so they kept the animal and allowed it to sleep in the house. It would leave the couple's home in the morning and head to the forest. The animal would spend the whole day in the forest and return to the couple's home in the evening. The animal was very brave. It would hang around the railways even though the rest of the other deers were afraid of the sound of the train. The day Adriana threw her baby, the deer was walking around the railway. He was waiting for the train to pass so that he could cross safely to the other side. The animal started to search for the source of the sound, and he found the baby wrapped in a coat. The baby was still alive despite being thrown from a moving train. It was evident God protected the baby from dying. The animal carried the baby between its teeth and crossed the railway and took the baby to the home of the elderly couple. The deer put the baby down at the foot of the couple's door and banged his head on the door. The elderly woman came out and saw the baby wrapped in a coat. She was very shocked, and so she called her husband to come and see him. The deer knew the baby was in safe hands now, and so he left and went back into the forest. The pair took the baby into the house and looked after him. They loved him and were determined to adopt him if no one came to claim him. They named the boy Gregory, and he grew up into a fine gentleman. This is the end of today's story. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. Please like and share this video with your friends and family. Thanks for watching and see you next time.